What is up, nieces and nephews? Dead Uncle Fresh here to talk to you about. Yep, you guessed it. You're so smart. Talk to you about some fragrances. Weather is starting to cool off at night, and it's a great time to start transitioning into your winter fragrances, which are the darker, heavier amber fragrances. So, I got a list of 6 here that I think could work in the type of weather we have now. It's still not the coldest weather, but it is cooler than it has been. So these you can use some of them sparingly in higher heat. One would be great for an office, and that would be Calvin Klein's DEFY. This one here, you're gonna get a citrus open, and then it's gonna turn halfway through. It's gonna turn, or not even halfway through. It's gonna turn quite quickly into a vetiver scent, a woody scent, dry vetiver, and yeah. It took me a few wearings to get used to that, because when I initially bought it, I bought it off the top end spray, right? They sprayed it on the paper, and I was like, "Oh, that's nice." I bought it, and then I took it home, and I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So that's why I always say try your fragrances out first before you buy, because this, I bought it retail, stupidly, but now I enjoy it. It took me a few wearings, as you can see, but I've gotten used to vetiver as a scent. Might be becoming one of my favorite scents in a profile. And let's keep in the woods theme by going with Burberry's Hero. This is an eau de toilette version. Same thing with Calvin Klein's DEFY. That was eau de toilette. But this is an eau de toilette, and what I mean by keeping in theme with the woods is that this will start off a little bit fresh, spicy, but it'll turn woody right away. And what I mean by woody is it's going to smell like cedar. Cedar, it apparently has 3 different types of cedar in here, if I remember correctly. But I bought this bottle not that long ago, and I think it was beginning of the year, actually, when it was still chill out. And I found it, wore it. I think I wore it like 3 or 4 days straight, but it smells pretty darn good. If you're into woodsy fragrances, I highly recommend checking that one out. And let's go with a blue boy. And by blue boy, I mean Dylan Blue. This thing here, it's gonna be your typical blue fresh fragrance, but it has a twist in it. It has a smoky incense in there that pops off in this cooler weather, and gives it a little bit more character. Well, at least for me, because sure, I'll wear this in the summertime, but when it's not like 30, 40 degrees, I find it perfect for this time of year, because it's a little cooler, and that smoky incense really comes out of it. So I thoroughly enjoy that one around this time of year. So that's gonna get a few wearings from me during this hoodie season. And hang on to your hoodies there, boys. You know how the manties are. They just think everything's theirs. Okay, moving on. So we're going on to a boozy scent. Now, boozy scents are great. As you can see, this is CREMO, and I purchased this probably about a year ago now, a year and a half. But yeah, around this time of year, and even in the winter, I'm rocking this thing, because it's bourbon and oak, right? a whiskey, woodsy. Really nice scent. If you want anything out of it though, you have to spray it on. I'm not saying it's a weak fragrance, but it is on the lighter side, considering it has a boozy note in it, right? Boozy notes are usually heavy, dense, thick. But this one's on the lighter side. I could get away with using this probably summer nights, but I specifically use this one in fall, spring, when it's cooler than like 25, 20 degrees. That's when I find it performs the best. Like I said though, it is a lighter fragrance, so if you want any like protection or longevity out of it, you have to be able to spray it on. Not afraid to spray it on, which I'm getting there. I've been watching some of these channels, and some of these guys are spraying like 15, 18 sprays. I was like, wow, that's a lot. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, maybe that's the fragrance, that's why they're doing it. So keep that in mind when you're trying to decide how much to apply. Like, initially applying a fragrance, it's gonna be loud, but within about half hour or so, it'll calm down, and you'll finally figure out how loud it really is. So keep that in mind when you're trying to select a fragrance for an occasion. Okay, let's go to the coffee house. This is kind of coffee boozy. This one is coffee and whiskey. This one is by Bath and Body Works. I think it's discontinued. I'm not too certain. But if you're lucky enough to have your hands on this thing, or get your hands on this thing, I would highly recommend it, because this isn't, this smells more like a frothy cup of coffee, not a dark black cup of coffee, like not the coffee beans or anything, but a frothy cup of coffee that's very sweet. You do not get, well, I don't get any of the whiskey coming through on it, but as far as wearing it, I bought that bottle last year, so yeah, I wore it. I have worn it. And then sticking with the coffee themes, there's also PEPE jeans. This one, kind of a citric opening. It's going to be a citrusy opening, and then probably about after the start of the dry down, you're going to get a coffee note in here, and it's going to be a darker coffee note than the coffee and whiskey. Not as frothy, but still a little bit on the sweet side. But all in all, I think it's a great fragrance. I really haven't reached for this one that much, because I have a couple of other coffee fragrances, and that coffee and whiskey, when I first bought it, I was wearing the heck out of that one. That's how much I enjoyed that one. But yeah, hang on to your hoodies, boys, and give those a try. They'll carry you through the day, and possibly, if you reapply, because it smells good, it'll hold you through the cooler nights. Or you can use them on cooler nights. I don't know, dude. I'm just suggesting stuff, people. Sorry, I'm still battling a bit of a cold here. But yeah, if you want to check them out, I highly recommend it. You give them a sniff, you just might like them. So, like I said, hang on to your hoodies. Smell good doing it. And get ready for a cool, crisp air that's coming. I'm looking forward to it, because that means I get to break out my heavier, denser, sweeter, spicier fragrances. I cannot wait. Nothing against the freshies, but I don't know, maybe it's because where I live, I wear mostly these dark, heavy fragrances because it's like winter for 7 months of the year. So freshies are great. Yeah, I'll splash one on every couple of weeks just to remind myself they're there, but something about a nice fragrance that's built to last and thick, heavy, dense. It smells great. I mean, come on. Alright, people. I'm out of here. Stay deadly fresh. Hoodie, you still here? Video's over. You can go now. Oh, I go. Oh, it's me that goes? You stay and I go. That's the problem here. I was like, what are you still doing here? Alright, bye-bye. Alright, stay deadly fresh, people.